Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I am Nick.
And I'm Zach.
So happy New Year!
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yay, Happy New Year. We made
Happy 2021. You know, this time it is a reason to celebrate. So there you go.
it. Yeah, got past that.
Yeah.
Year.
Yeah, for real. So did you guys watch anything since we last sort of spoke?
Not really. I watched. I'm a little late to the game, but I watched the first season of The Mandalorian
Nice.
because I heard the second one was good, so I decided to just get it started.
Second, so
I
good.
liked the first season. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a little spoiled, so I know what's coming. But it's hard. It was hard not to be spoiled if you're browsing the internet on that one.
Oh yeah, so it's that last episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I liked the first season, but it didn't have too much of a plot besides the main one that I don't know. Only spent like the first episode, a middle episode, and the last episode really revolved around the actual story. But it was good. Other good episodes like bottle episodes and like the Bill Burr in space episode.
Yep.
That was a great one, even though it had not much to do with the plot, but Bill Burr in space.
Yep.
I still haven't delved into the Mandalorian yet, but you know, I'll get to that point eventually. I just need to take a break from Star Wars for a while. So,
Well, this one's a lot better than that whole trilogy. So
yeah, no.
That's what I was like. I don't wanna, but then
yeah,
real good things out of season 2 I heard. So
I have
like
no.
Star Wars, you know, but they've been just producing crap lately, so I'm just like,
Yep.
But here we go.
And they get
so far.
they get something good again, and they just announced 10 more Star Wars shows. So probably
that might be the way to go.
Probably might become crap at some point again. But
I'll be ready when I'm ready, but like I've gone through this phase before where I just get burnt out by Star Wars. I went through a similar phase after the prequels came out. I was like, okay, no more Star Wars. Like, it's not interesting to me anymore. And then, you know, eventually I kind of came around again, got back into them, got stoked about the new films. And then I saw those and I'm like, all right, I'm done. No more, you know? So eventually I'll come around again. Star Wars is one of those things where I've fallen in and out of love with throughout my life. So, you know, I think we kind of summarized it on our Star Wars episode. So,
yeah, we've talked about it a couple times. So
yeah, but you guys know my thoughts on them. I love them and hate them. You know, so
yeah.
I am stoked about the Mandalorian though, and I am looking forward to eventually watching it. So
yeah, I'll finish it up the second season by tomorrow.
Excellent. Cool. Do you want me to talk about what I've seen?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, well, let's see. Well, I rewatched classic movie It's a Wonderful Life because it was a Christmas movie, and you know, it is a movie that I happen to really love.
I watched the Christmas Story, so
yeah. Excellent. I thought I was going to be able to sneak in Edward Scissorhands, but I just never got around to it. It's like, nah.
Is that a Christmas movie?
I consider it one.
I've never seen it.
I mean, let me put it this way. If it's not a Christmas movie, it's still more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard is.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So,
I don't like it when people say Die Hard is, so...
Yeah, well, the plot of Edward Scissorhands actually does involve Christmas a little bit more. So it could still probably be argued as to whether or not it's a Christmas movie. But the way I see it, like, only the Christmas aspect only has to do with like the last like 20 minutes of it or so. But it's kind of the same thing with It's a Wonderful Life. When you actually watch that movie, most of that film really has nothing to do with Christmas. And it isn't until like the ending where things start getting all supernatural and creepy that it starts actually getting into the Christmas plot. But people remember it as being like a movie that's just entirely Christmas. And it's really not. It's actually just a pretty bleak movie about this, guy who ends up kind of living a really sad life where he has to just sort of like basically work for a living, and help out like the sort of an impoverished small town, because he's the only person who actually has the power and ability to do that. It's almost like it's kind of reminds me of like sort of a similar sort of thing as The Godfather in a way, only more positive, because The Godfather is really more about a guy who wants to live a normal life, but then discovers that the only thing he's really good at doing is organized crime, which is sort of the inherent tragedy of those movies. And then the second and third film proceed to kind of show his overall decline, as a human being. Whereas It's a Wonderful Life is about a guy who wants to do bigger things, but ends up having to do things that are kind of thankless, that he doesn't end up really wanting to do. And then it ends up driving him into a deep depression, and it results in him wanting to almost kill himself, and then he ends up not doing it, and then it has a happy ending, and it's actually a beautiful movie. So I rewatched that, and then I watched the two big popular movies that came out recently. I watched the new Wonder Woman movie, did either of you watch that one?
I did.
Okay.
It was trash.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but it kind of just suffered from sequel syndrome,
Yeah.
like it pretty much, like, that's the thing. I just don't understand sequels are really, they depress me so much because they don't ever have to try to actually be good. They just have to be something, it can be more of the same. And that's pretty much what it was. Yeah.
Like you can't really expect much with DC, and even then I was let down.
Yeah. I was disappointed too. I still want to see I still want to see the next Wonder Woman movie. I'm still kind of curious about the character, but yeah, this was just typical bad sequel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn. Because the first one was good. From what I remember, the first one was good at least.
Yeah, that was a lot better.
Yeah, I like the first one very much. So.
Darn.
Yeah, but hopefully, fingers crossed for the third one. So.
Yeah.
Which they are making despite everything that's been going on with the streaming and theaters and stuff like that. They are still going to make that third one. So, fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. And then I saw the new Pixar movie Soul.
Yeah.
And it was good.
I want to see that so bad.
Yeah. It was excellent.
Yeah, it's really good.
Nice. I'm going to have to check it out then. I love Pixar, so I definitely need to.
Yeah. I love this direction they're going in lately. They're kind of going in a more heady sort of unconventional, it's almost psychological type of direction. Like it started sort of with Inside Out, which I wouldn't say it was like a perfect movie, but it was sort of about deeper issues, and I appreciate that kind of thing. And then Coco sort of brought a lot of more challenging ideas to the forefront.
I loved that one. That one was intense too.
Yeah, that's still one of their best, in my opinion.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god,
I cried like a baby during that one.
I cried just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the music is incredible too. This was I still haven't decided which one I like more. Like right now I'm kind of leaning towards this, but I mean, we'll see how I feel after, in time. But this one is sort of exploring some more kind of like abstract ideas that are a little bit difficult to talk about, really. But, when you watch the movie, you kind of understand, where it's coming from. So like, I appreciate that when they make
you gotta catch it.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It really is. So anyway, that's all I got.
Yeah, I saw those ones as well. And then
Excellent.
I just watched Tokyo Fist yesterday. Shinya Tsukamoto.
Excellent.
That's pretty much it.
What'd you think of that one?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot different than Tetsuo.
Yeah, he's got a pretty unconventional style. I'm still trying to remember the one that I saw, Vital, which like to this day I'm still trying to like wrap my head around what that was even about, you know.
It's coming up in the box set I have.
Yeah, it's really twisted, but definitely different. I mean, I like Tetsuo a lot. I find that one really creative and offbeat, and I actually kind of find it sort of funny too, you know. So it's got like an eccentric style that I enjoy, you know. The sequel was kind of more of the same, you know, but and then I saw another one of his movies. I haven't seen Tokyo Fist, but there was another movie of his I saw besides Vital that I don't know. I don't remember, but yeah, I'm sure I'll remember after we're done recording. But anyway, cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So to get started here, so this episode we are going to talk about, you know, specifically Troma films that we've sort of all three of us have sort of chosen, you know. And but before we do that, we have a little bit of a surprise, you know. It's you know, just to kind of put a little period at the end of Christmas. We watched well, okay, would you like to do the honors of presenting the title, Zach, since it was, you know, kind of your idea?
Where it is A Recipe for Seduction.
Yeah. Starring the always reliable, in a way, Mario Lopez.
Yeah. He's a good-looking dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you know, apparently he's still as much of a heartthrob as he was way back in his prime. So
Yeah. Even
yeah,
he had that salt and pepper look going on.
yeah, excellent. You know, I mean, one day I hope to I mean, that's what I aspire to. I want to rock the salt and pepper look one day, you know.
Yeah, I do too.
So
I
yeah,
do too.
it's gonna happen, you know. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But but that's the wonderful thing about Lifetime movies, is they make you believe in beautiful things. And one day
it's heartwarming.
yeah, one day I want to do a podcast episode where we talk about Lifetime movies. I mean, I already know which one I'm gonna choose. It's one that I actually did watch
for sure.
Yeah, the one that I'm gonna choose is one that I definitely have. I watched, you know, when it played, and it's one I've watched a couple of times because I find it so hilarious, and like I can't even talk about it without laughing. But it was Cyber Seduction. Anyway, we're not going to talk about it, but eventually we should definitely do a lifetime movie episode. You know,
Lifetime Hallmark.
Yeah. Oh God, the whole shebang. So yeah. But anyway, so this is a tale. This Recipe for Disaster. It's sort of a Christmas tale, if you will, in a
is it
sort
disaster
of
or
roundabout
seduction?
way.
Seduction.
Seduction. Yeah, Recipe for. Uh-oh. Well, it could. I mean, it's a tale of forbidden love. Let's put it that way. So.
The old-fashioned Romeo and Juliet story.
Pretty much. It's about as standard as you can get, but it's kind of special because it does happen to be about, you know, it does happen to have a particular sort of interesting tie-in, which I'm sure people who've heard of this movie already know about, and you could probably guess by the title too. But if you guys want to,
was the title just KFC Recipe for Seduction? Recipe for Seduction.
It's branded as a Lifetime original mini movie produced by Kentucky Fried Chicken. A recipe for seduction.
Okay.
Such a
Written and
mouthful.
directed by Gene.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Gene?
That was my favorite part, was when it got to the title, it said written and directed by Gene. That made me think of Terminator Salvation when it said directed by blah, 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 McG and all the fancy lettering. Like, I was like, oh no. So anyway, I don't know who Gene is though. I managed to not look that up, unfortunately. So I should have.
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's a romantic little fable, I guess you'd call it, about a woman who falls in love with her delivery man, I guess.
He's a chef.
Yeah. Which, did he seduce her? I mean,
Not
if
really.
he did, it was sort of by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He haphazardly seduced her.
Yeah. She said no to her like rich boyfriend who wanted to. He proposed to her. She said no.
Right.
And
Which
she
was the
just,
most awkward.
Yeah. Just a weird fucking thing.
Yeah. He was so aggressive about it. It's like, will you marry me? It would be cool if you said yes. You know, like he was like goading her the whole time. She's like, yeah. It's almost like, you know, I don't know, just the worst kind of wedding proposal you can really imagine, honestly. I mean, maybe except for the old fashioned sort of, oops, I forgot the ring mistake, which is kind of a cliche at this point, I guess. Or at least somebody told me it was. I don't know if it actually is. But the only movie I can think of where that happened was The Strangers. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it starts with dinner shot, and then she denying the proposal.
Mm.
Yeah.
And she
down
basically.
Oh,
their feast of fried chicken.
Oh, right.
Excellent wedding food choice, I suppose. I mean, it wouldn't have been my choice, but in the land of Lifetime.
Yummy.
Yeah. Anyway, so he pretty much like it's kind of a quirky, cute sort of, not rendezvous, but more like they just kind of strike up a casual conversation, and he's sort of a bumbling kind of, he's like, oops, I didn't realize how attractive I was type of guy who, you know, just sort of goes along with it. And I guess that's why he's attractive, because he doesn't seem to really care. I mean, he does, but it's sort of like whatever type of thing too, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
funny.
that's sort of attractive thing. So,
Yeah, they met, like she just wanted to, go for a walk and talk and shit. And
yeah.
that was the one scene. The next scene they were in together, they made out and kissed. No, I love you.
Yeah.
It was over like one day too. She fell in love with this guy over one meeting, really.
They must have had a really wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost more curious about what that conversation was than I am the rest of the plot. You know, like everything that happens in this movie that just kind of ends up sort of spiraling into sort of conspiracy mode eventually.
Yep. Because it was a whole, arranged type marriage. The girl's family, I guess, is in debt.
Mm.
Even though they're living in a huge mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mom's
Beats me.
trying to force her into that other marriage because he's rich. I don't know. It's typical kind of rom-com-y shit movie, but I mean,
I feel like
direct about it at least.
it is a plot that I feel like I've seen before, admittedly.
It is a Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
Probably like
Exactly.
half their movies are probably
Yeah.
The plot's like if you took a Lifetime movie Mad Libs and just added KFC to it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yep.
Basically,
Secret
yeah. Yeah, recipe for seduction parentheses question mark parentheses. Yeah, and then you also got the old school Lifetime like, and I this is also a cliche I saw on a lot of Oxygen Network movies too. Was and I do see this on Hallmark. Well, actually, apparently now this is a new thing to Walmart or to Hallmark. Sorry, I get the names confused. Hallmark, not Walmart, and which is the trope of the convenient gay best friend.
Oh, yeah, he was in this.
Yeah, which it's a Lifetime Network cliche I've seen, you know, probably about 36 times, where the main character happens to have a neighbor who's this friendly gay guy who is always willing to make cupcakes or cookies and bring them over to her apartment and talk about how lonely he is, and then he ends up saving the day at the end of the film. Like, I've seen that in more than a few movies, and this movie manages to fulfill that sort of
Yeah, this movie 16-minute commercial.
yeah, well, it's a Lifetime short. You know, they're realizing now that their movies have about 15 minutes worth of substance, and so now they're cutting their clips down to a more reasonable length. If all Lifetime movies were this short, then they would be the perfect movies. They should actually just focus on making short films, because they're so much better at doing that. The worst thing about Lifetime movies is how long they are. Like, most Lifetime movies do not need to be more than an hour long, and so you're left with a film that has a lot of filler and a lot of meandering and a lot of actors walking around not really sure what to do other than emote, you know, for about 10 to 20 minutes. And then you got the commercial breaks in between as well, you know, so you're trying to watch the whatever movie it is, like what was that one about the lady who has like Stockholm syndrome, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like crime of passion or whatever, where she's like in the hotel room and there's like a 20-minute long standoff between the police and the crooked, you know, thug that kidnaps her, and then cut to commercial about twice, which extends the standoff to about 40 minutes. I mean, and then to top it all off, you have the filler. I mean, most Lifetime movies really don't need to be super long. So I'm glad that this one was only about 15 or 16 minutes, because an hour and a half of this shit would have driven me crazy.
Perfect length.
Yeah. Agreed.
If it was any longer, I couldn't take it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I might have, if it depends on how goofy they got, but
yeah, this was pretty goofy,
like
so that helped.
Yeah,
over like 45 minutes, I don't know. 30 pushing it probably.
You'd have to get a lot goofier than this. Like, you'd have to be getting to like Tiptoes level goofy in order for this kind of thing to work. So.
Surprised, you know, Fred Olen Ray's doing the Lifetime movies right now. I'm surprised he hasn't made a goofy one.
I love it. He'll make anything. As long as there's like a handful of actors and a script, he'll do it. He won't even watch his movie. He won't even look through the viewfinder while he's filming it. Like, he'll just film it, release it. Oh, thanks for the check. You know, gonna go on to make my next one. Like, that's pretty much Fred Olen Ray's style.
Yep.
Oh, you want a trailer? Oh, let me find footage of other people's movies and just kind of make a trailer. Oh, man. Anyway, I love it, though. I think it's wonderful that Fred Olen Ray is making Lifetime movies, you know, because he's got to find work somehow. You know?
Yeah. I think him and Jim Wynorski are doing it.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Oh, man, I loved your Chopping Mall movie.
Yeah.
Oh, what was yours? Oh, yeah, Genie in the String Bikini. Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Recipe for Seduction was a seductive recipe. Is what I would describe it as being overall.
It was finger licking good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He had that secret recipe that was going to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. But he fell in love along the way. You know. Oh, and there's a twist ending too.
There's at least a climax. There's like
Yeah.
where the mom's crazy and tries to stop it. Her and the fiance kidnap the colonel and her gay friend.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were gonna do with them after that, except for like kill them, I guess. But
I guess I'm hoping that's the direction that they were going, or I was hoping that was the direction they would go in. But you know, Lifetime movie. I mean, we can't aim too high with the Lifetime network. You know, they got to keep things simple. You know. So.
And then Billy or the gay friend comes back and saves the day by just knocking people out with that can.
Oh yeah. He knocks people out and spreads some sass across the board while he's at it, and he saves the day. And then after that, there's right before the credits, there's a twist ending where you discover that
before the twist they get married. Colonel Sanders. And Lady
Yes, that's the most important part. I mean, of course we saw it coming, you know,
1 year
but
later.
regardless, 1 year later. Man.
But
they got married.
There's a twist.
Yeah. Oh, and also the gay best friend was the person doing the vows at their wedding too.
Duh.
Like,
of course he was.
It's like, oh, wonderful. He'll just do anything for them. But then, right before the credits, it is discovered that the secret recipe has been found. If I'm not mistaken.
Is that what it was? I didn't get that much. I just all I got was the basic context of the mom was in a psych hospital.
Yeah.
Billy came to visit her with like
and he said exactly. I found it or something like that. Like
he had like a chicken wing. It was like, I found it.
Yeah. Or did he just pull that out of his pocket or what?
I think so.
That's my only guess.
Because he did go through that dude's or the colonel's notebook, but he didn't take the recipe. He just put it back in the notebook. I guess he has like photographic memory or something.
I guess.
Those are the best kind of supervillains, the kind that have photographic memories and can manage to remember things that nobody else would remember. You know, so
yeah. And this did have the rom-com second act fight, which lasted about 5 seconds.
Yeah. and thank God, because any longer than 5 seconds, that would have killed the movie. You see, that's why this film is the perfect recipe, because it has a little bit of everything, you know, and it works out perfectly, you know.
Yeah.
It's
just a pinch,
crisp.
just a dash of second act fighting. Like,
yeah.
You told him about my secret recipe. Yeah. No, I didn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, the movie's got. I mean, the formula. It's a very complicated recipe. It's got to be a little bit crispy, just a little bit. You know, not too crispy, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So. And Mario Lopez, he channels his Pamela Anderson energy. He says, except instead of saying "Don't call me babe," he says, "Don't call me crouton."
Yeah. Was that a reference to that?
Well, I'm gonna pretend it was, but maybe it wasn't. You know, but I figured may as well make a little throw out to our IMDb bottom 100 project that we're doing. So, because barbed wire, it's on there. So, you know, you better brace yourselves. But don't call me babe. No, it's 2020. Well, 2021 now, but don't call me crouton is the new thing. So
all right. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. I loved it. I enjoyed it very much. It was silly, you know, but I expect no less. So I'd probably give it like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hard to rate a short like this, but yeah, I'd say watch it. Why not? And give it a 3.
It's painless.
It's only 16 minutes long, something like that.
That's silly. I watch dozens of YouTubes longer than that every day.
Oh yeah, I have before too. You know. Yeah, no, it's a pleasant appetizer, is what it is.
Yes.
delicious.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, oh yeah. As
Excellent.
far as directed by Gene, that's not who it's directed by. It's directed by three people.
I figured it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Eric Eckelman, Armand Prisco, and Natalie Prisco.
I feel scammed.
Who's
That's
this
horrible.
Gene?
I changed my rating 1 out of 5. I wanted it to be a lonely random person named Gene who wrote a movie. Colonel Sanders. Oh well.
Oh, apparently their production company is named Gene Productions.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes it a little bit easier to take. So,
I guess, yeah.
by the way, sorry if my eyes are watering. This light bulb that I bought is too bright, so I turned it down though. So,
It's all good.
yeah. All right. So, all right. So I guess on to the main course. If we're gonna follow this up with recipe for seduction, so onto the Troma films that we have chosen, which for folks who don't know, Troma is kind of a I mean, it's a film studio that mostly puts out like pretty low grade like features, but what's interesting about them is they sort of they're a little bit more embracing of the sort of rough around the edges style that a lot of low budget filmmakers tend to sort of fall into the trap of. And Lloyd Kaufman, the main sort of founder of the company, he's made his own movies and has made assortment of very oddball sort of films. And I wouldn't describe most Troma films as being good, but one thing I do enjoy about them is they are distinct in certain ways. And oftentimes they do have some kind of underlying message that tends to be inherently progressive or, counterculturally, themed. Even their ugliest, most slimiest movies have some sort of positive quality to them. So, but having said that, the 3 films that we've chosen kind of are of varying quality, I would say. And the one that I chose, which is the one we're going to discuss first, is the Belgian-made picture titled Rabid Grannies. And what's unique about this movie is there doesn't appear to be a sufficient release, I guess you could say, for this film. One version is what people complain as being too plot based and not really exciting enough, I guess, not enough like action for being a horror movie. And then the other version that exists, which I guess is the German release from what I understand, cuts down quite heavily on the plot, but also includes a couple subplots that were removed from the theatrical version, or the festival version, I guess is what the original version is called. But it has like a bunch of it has more footage of the somewhat sophisticated makeup effects. So the version that we watched of this movie was a fan-made edit that was on YouTube that someone put together that pretty much includes all the footage from both versions in it. So
I wonder if I watched the same one. Was it a free version that you guys watched, or was it?
The one that I watched was on YouTube. It's about an hour and a half
YouTube
long.
one.
Okay. Was it labeled like full uncut? Like,
I don't know. I didn't. I just
The
it
link
was
we
one that was
had,
on-
the link we had in the
didn't-
chat.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I used that link
Okay.
specifically.
all right. Well, whichever version. The one I watched apparently has everything in it. So
Yeah, I watched that one.
yeah.
And then I checked out the Blu-ray I have after. It's awful. It's a super bad transfer.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently it was based off like a work print or something. So.
And it was like 20 minutes shorter. Both cuts were on there.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Like, I don't really I still don't quite understand the reason why there's two like completely different versions of it that are available. Like apparently it has to do with rights issues, but the thing is like Troma, they are a pretty low rent company. They're not working with a tremendous amount of funds, so they do tend to err on the cheaper side of production when it comes to their like releases. Just in general, a lot of their like actual like self-distributed releases tend to be of like pretty poor quality, so that's probably why like I'm guessing it has to do with rights issues. So
Hmm.
but anyway,
I,
regardless.
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if I saw the same version you guys did, but because it
Yeah,
wasn't
maybe
the
we'll
one that you sent on that link.
okay, did you watch like the one on Amazon Prime, or was it
No,
like
it was on YouTube Movies. So I mean,
okay?
I
Oh
just
yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll figure it out. But
who knows?
so but it's a movie that the reason I chose it is because it's one that I'd kind of heard quite a few people I know had seen this one, and quite a few people I know had sort of recommended this one in passing, like, oh, that one's pretty cool, I enjoyed that one. So I mainly chose it based on recommendations, just casual recommendations. And I don't know, I mean, I thought it was kind of lame personally. Like there wasn't really a whole lot to it. I think it was trying to sort of say something about like wealthy people, but really the main reason people are watching it is for the makeup effects, which are, I would say, pretty decent. Not the best I've seen, but better than a movie with this type of budget usually tends to get. I mean,
Yeah, pretty
really
good
the
for
main,
Trauma.
yeah, definitely. That's exactly how I would describe it. Is good considering what they're typically working with. Yeah, is good for Troma standards, because most of the time their gore effects look pretty much garbage, So, but yeah, no, this one, I don't know, it kind of just went in the direction that I sort of was expecting. I mean, it was pretty much just like a bunch of wealthy sort of sophisticates are at a party. There's a tremendous amount of banter where they're kind of sitting around a table. You kind of learn how each and every one of them sucks as a human being, which is just basically gearing you up to, get ready for them to get killed. And it goes on a little too long. I could see why they probably cut a lot of the dialogue down, because some of it is pretty needless and uninteresting, so. But then, eventually, I guess it's like some related nephew, or I don't know. Is there a plot summary or something? Like,
One paragraph on Wikipedia.
oh, okay. Well, you may as well read it.
All right.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened to them all that well. Like,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I
two,
know it happened. I just don't know why.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's not much to it, really.
Two elderly sisters invite their wonderful nieces and nephews to a party celebration of the sisters' upcoming birthdays, which everyone hated these people, so I don't know why they all came to this dinner party to begin with.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either, but I mean, I guess it's sort of, maybe I think that's really the only kind of social commentary I got out of this whole movie. If that's what they were aiming for, I'm guessing maybe, since they did happen to include it, that like, it's like the only reason these people are friends is because the thing that they happen to have in common is their wealth. And so it's sort of making a comment on how, like, even though they hate each other, they still have solidarity, I guess, is kind of, yeah.
The one nephew who is not invited is the ostracized black sheep of the family, whose devil worshipping activities have resulted in his being removed from the sisters' inheritance.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Hmm.
and that's pretty much what gets the plot going.
Yeah.
Kind of turns into like a Pandora's box kind of thing, I guess. I mean, for lack of a better, like, yeah.
The rest rest of the what's up?
No, just keep going. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's
Piecing
one
stuff together.
it's one paragraph that like only tells the beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well,
The rest of the guests are merely putting in time. They're actually only waiting for their aunts to die, leaving them empty endowed via their respective inheritances. Unfortunately, for all but the aunts, the nephew sends a party gift that turns the scene into a frolic of the macabre and ruins the party. Under the gift's power, the aunts turn into cannibalistic demons and proceed to eat up all of their guests. That's the plot summary.
Yeah.
Does about cover it all.
yeah. So spoilers, I guess, for the movie Rabid Grannies. The aunts turn demonic.
Yeah.
Yep. Not rabid. Demonic.
No. They turn into cannibalistic demons, like you just said. That's pretty much like when the actual good part of the movie starts, because then you get to watch all the characters that you just spent about 30 minutes hating get slaughtered in pretty swift fashion. I think my favorite
Just turns into a slasher from there.
Pretty much like 10 little Indians, like they all hold up in one room, and then they go to another room and they just get picked off one by one in various fashion. And the kills are, some of them are kind of creative. I like the part where that one guy gets like eaten up, like what happens, they like twist him open and then like rip his guts out and all that part was pretty cool. It was pretty gross. I was like, whoa, that was gnarly. And then the part with the car accident where the girl, like that lady, gets slammed into the fence was pretty funny. Let's see, a little girl gets killed. It's like, oh my god.
Like chopping her legs off somehow.
Yeah. Happens off screen, but it's still kind of jarring, pretty much like the part that I found most interesting, actually, believe it or not, was after it was all over and the aunts turned back into human beings and they're like, oh, I don't know what happened. Honestly, that's a more that right there could make for a much more interesting plot, like how one would deal with the aftermath of being demonically possessed and eating half your family. I feel like that would make for a more interesting movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it probably wouldn't be a Troma.
Probably not, no. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't crazy about it. It was well made enough in the effects department that I would still probably recommend it for folks who are like faithful to that sort of thing. But beyond that, I don't know. I'm probably not going to watch it again. So
Yeah.
I'd probably give it like a 2 out of 5, honestly. Like, wasn't crazy about it.
Yeah, I gave it a 2 as well. Pretty much just for the gore.
Yeah.
Makeup effects. Like the transformation scene was pretty cool. Like the fingernails coming out and the mouth.
Yeah.
The first time first time they eat someone at the table.
Yeah. That was funny. The kid was like, that's smashing.
Oh yeah.
That was great. Yeah, no, the death scenes were great. That was, I would say, the main reason to see this. If you're looking for like a sort of eccentric, low budget sort of slasher movie, this one will definitely like do the trick, I would say. It's not really scary or anything like that. It's more just like, blood and guts, everywhere type of thing, but I mean, that kind of thing could be pretty enjoyable. I mean, The Thing is a really popular movie, and some of the scenes, some of the makeup in this movie reminded me of that a little bit. Like, not that sophisticated, but kind of in that direction, which I admire a lot, actually. So
Yeah.
there was a bit I liked where one of the sisters got all armored up in like some medieval armor,
Oh, yeah.
causing chaos in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that the part with the machine gun?
I don't
I
know if it
think
was
so.
before. Yeah, it was around then for sure.
Yeah.
Where they
Yeah.
were trying to get the priest to kill himself. Like one was taunting him to do it, and the other was like, "No,
Yeah.
you won't get into heaven if you do that." And
That
they're
was
like just trying to see who wins, and he eventually does, and he's like,
Yeah.
I win." The other one of the sisters, yeah.
that was a really interesting death scene. That kind of reminded me of the scene in Last House on the Left where like the thugs like convince like one of their own to like that one guy who's sort of mentally deficient, they convinced that one guy to commit suicide. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit, like, and it reminded me of like another movie too, but I don't remember what. So but that part, I mean, things like that are always kind of like, whoa, every once in a while, like even bad movies have interesting ideas in them, like I mean, I guess the sort of classic example that I keep occasionally mentioning is Night Train to Terror, which is basically a movie. It's just a conversation between God and Satan, but like that's an interesting idea. The movie itself isn't really any good, but I still love the idea.
Yeah. Thought that the fat guy with the mustache there reminded me of Paul Bearer from the WWF, the Undertaker's manager.
Oh yeah, didn't he like get put in a casket or something and buried
Yeah.
alive? Oh man,
I thought it was him for a second.
it's gonna look like him. That guy used to scare me when I was little. Like his voice was so high pitched and creepy, and he was like, he had that like tight tie that was all the way up to his neck and made his like chin look really big. Paul Bearer.
Yeah.
Oh man, wasn't he keeping the Undertaker's soul in an urn or something like that? And,
Yeah.
like he like fought a battle. He had to summon Kane, which was Undertaker's like brother who he physically scarred with acid or something like that. Like he had to like summon him from the depths of hell to kill his brother or something. I don't remember exactly what the plot was, but that was back in the days when I was into the WWF/WWE.
That was actually interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I haven't thought about Paul Bearer for a while. But anyway, yeah, no, Rabid Grannies. I don't know. Not much to say about it other than, you get to watch old ladies turn into demons and eat people. It's, pretty cool if you like that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
but having said that, if you want like more like something that's kind of more along these lines involving like demonic possession, like I'd recommend like, one of your favorite movies, The Evil Dead, or like Mario Bava's Demons. Both of those are, I think, superior to this. So all right. Anyway, anybody have anything else they want to say about Rabid Grannies?
Yeah,
I think I'm good.
that covers it for me, I think.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward on that one.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So the next film was your choice, Zach.
Yeah. So it's not the choice I chose in the last episode
Right.
for people listening, but
Yeah. Because in the previous episode you chose
I chose the Evolved Part 1 last time, but it is not easy to find.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Troma stuff, apparently. I found out.
Yeah, it's a bummer because their stuff used to be like available on YouTube, but then, I mean, we all know what direction YouTube has decided to go in as a video platform, which is unfortunate. But as a result, yeah, I mean, it results in a lot of movies that would otherwise not be seen, not being seen. So it's a bummer, but that's kind of the direction they're going in. So, but at one point, the Evolved Part 1 was actually on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna table it and save it for a future episode, along with Double Story, which we haven't. We unfortunately weren't able to do, so we're gonna wait till that becomes more publicly available, so to speak.
Yeah,
So.
I can't wait to watch that again.
Yeah, it's so good. It's a French movie, Nick, so watch out.
Oh Lord. With the creepy sex things in it.
Yeah, you'll find out. But anyway, so your secondary choice.
My secondary choice, I'd say, is one of Troma's flagship franchises, is Class of Nukem High.
So there's more of these.
Oh yeah, there's 3 Class of Nukem Highs and then 2 Return to Nukem High.
Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty of Nukem High to enjoy.
Yeah, I wanted to start the series for a while, so why not do it on the show?
Excellent.
So I'm gonna read the Wikipedia. This one actually has a decent amount on the site. So the film follows the events that unfold at Tromaville High School in New Jersey, which is conveniently located next to a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, excellent.
An accident at the nuclear power plant is covered up by plant owner Mr. Paley, who does not want the facility shut down by the Safety Commission. The accident causes a radioactive water leak, which ends up gruesomely killing a student at the school after the tainted water reaches the drinking fountain.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude just oozes out green shit and eventually jumps out the window.
Yeah.
It just melts on the ground.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I love that. I hadn't seen this movie for a long time, so like rewatching it, like I forgot about little things like that and just like how gnarly it was. It's like, oh, okay, excellent.
The gang of the school, called the Cretans, who are originally part of the Honor Society, and apparently this is from the same toxic shit, just turned them into punks somehow. Like that was just like breezed over.
Yeah, like somehow they sort of kind of became almost like not like cavemen, but almost more of like a tribe type thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, weird looking people in it.
Yeah, except they weren't really so much a hunter-gatherer tribe as much as they were just like a really like domineering type of tribe, kind of like Class of 1984 type of thing, where you have like these younger like high school students that are part of a gang, basically just terrorizing everybody.
and it's always punks because it's the 80s.
Yeah. Yep. Everybody was afraid of punks in the 80s.
It's implied that they've been turned into violent psychopaths by the runoff from the plant. They picked leaves from a radioactive marijuana plant located in the yard of the nuclear power plant.
Yeah. Their source is growing weed at a nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got tons of security here. No one will ever find it.
Meanwhile, there's a bunch of people behind them just working.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I love that.
That's funny shit.
They sell it to Eddie for $10 for joint, which it's a normal price like these days, but apparently it was really expensive then.
Yeah, back then it would have been, I guess. But these days, that's a normal price.
Yeah, it's like it's the past has come full circle.
Yeah. inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
At his indoor bikini beach party that night, Eddie pressures his friend Warren and Warren's girlfriend Chrissy into smoking the radioactive joint. And there was one other person that did, but they never showed her again after that scene.
Yeah, that was the one sort of question I had was whatever happened to her? Like,
I thought she joined the bad guys or the punks.
I must
She
have
was
missed
because
it.
there was a girl that joined them that like had she like painted webbing on her face and she joined them. But that was her. 'Cause
Might
at
have
first
been.
I thought it was. At first I thought it was the girlfriend, but she popped up later and
That was the
threw out.
teacher.
Because I know one of the. I'm not sure. I know
noticed
somebody. I thought somebody that smoked it joined them.
It might have been her. I thought it was either the teacher or her. So I'm not. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's accidentally ruined by the dancers before anyone else can try it. The mutated drug shows itself to have potent aphrodisiac effects, leading to Warren and Chrissy having sex in Eddie's loft.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his friends creep on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always chuckle when that happens because that's just, I don't know, it makes me think of like a summer camp movie or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, jeez.
that's very 80s and 90s thing to have in a movie.
Yeah, it's happened in so many movies. It's ridiculous. Like,
It doesn't really mention this, but they're like kind of prudes before, just so we have that.
oh yeah, they're very clean cut type of like, oh, I don't want to get with her because she's shy. Oh, I don't want to get with him because he's shy. Type of like, oh, aren't they cute and wholesome? Type of like main characters that we know and love and can root for because they're so perfect for each other. It's like a sitcom romance.
Yeah. They didn't want to drink or anything either. Their friend kind of just shoved the joint in their mouth.
Yeah, which they didn't have to inhale. Just saying.
Yeah.
But whatever. They wouldn't have done that unless they wanted to. That's my opinion. So,
Yep.
because it's like, here, try it. And then they're like, oh. And it's like, okay, all right, fine.
Right. Okay. They wanted it.
Yeah.
I guess so.
However, that same night, both of them have disturbing nightmares about hideously mutating.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has that dream about becoming pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy had a huge ass boner.
Yeah.
It was like the size of him. Like
It was like touch.
He was pitching a tent, kind of thing. It didn't show it, but like under the blanket.
It was almost up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought because she actually became pregnant that we were going to see that mutated dick at some point.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but not this time.
I'm sure that's another Troma movie.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that in another Troma movie, but I don't remember which one. But I know that there was at least a couple that I've seen a killer penis in. At least a couple.
Yeah. Though these effects are seemingly gone by morning, sometime later, Chrissy discovers that she is pregnant and spits a little monster into a nearby toilet.
I like the way it said that, into a nearby toilet. Yeah, okay. They couldn't have just said that she spits out a monster,
Yeah.
Anyway. But I guess it is kind of important though. So.
Yeah, the creature travels through the water pipes and lands in a barrel filled with radioactive waste and mutates into a bigger creature. Which that creature looked pretty cool.
It did. I was like, whoa, my God, that's pretty sophisticated. Like, again, like I could see why this is sort of one of their premiere titles, I guess. So,
Yeah.
because it does kind of have some memorable visuals, I guess one would say. So
Oh, yeah.
the creature effects are pretty cool.
Yeah. The nuclear power plant orders a lockdown of the school and begins an investigation into the student who died at the beginning of the film. Which they just had people walk around the whole fucking movie just with like Geiger counters and shit.
Yeah.
Hazmat suited dudes.
Yeah, it took a while for that to go anywhere.
Yeah, meanwhile they're
Yeah,
just resuming classes.
I liked the one
Yeah.
one of the scientist dudes. He found the vat where the monster was. He like dropped his mask in it, and he put his whole hand in the vat of fucking soupy, fucking toxic waste. Like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you? Like, why? And then he takes it out. And was like, oh fuck, and just throws it back in. Like, no, why'd you even bother? Why?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. One of the nuclear workers begins to investigate the basement.
There we go.
Yep.
So his equipment shown signs of a spill. He can't find any evidence outside of a foul odor. After hearing for a second time a sound he's previously dismissed, he investigates. As he's observing a barrel, the monster's arm reaches out and claws his face, disfiguring him. I guess this is a different one.
Oh.
Is that the same scene?
I think. I mean,
I think it might have
I
been,
know.
like after he dropped it.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah.
I think it was. It sort of happened over the course. It was sort of like it was like a subplot, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was the same guy. It just happened after he dropped it in and everything. And then he got
Okay.
murdered.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
The wording confused me.
Yeah. Yeah. These Wikipedia writers.
Yeah.
Ugh. Learn some English. No, I'm just kidding.
As the worker screams out in pain, the monster pulls him into the barrel and eats him, only to cough up his left hand and ID badge, making the worker the monster's first kill. Meanwhile, Warren, tired of the Cretans' constant harassment, ends up going on a radiation-fueled rampage, killing 2 of them with no memory of the event once he comes to his senses.
That was kind of a cool scene.
Yeah.
You know? It was sort of a messed up, like, yeah.
That was the main character that did that, you mean?
Yeah.
Or was that...
Yeah, when he like raged out on 2 of the
kind of in an alleyway.
Yeah, and didn't like his skin burn people like in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
He just touched one of the bad guys and like burned his skin or something like that.
Yeah.
The Cretans, expelled from the school and cut off from their customer base, assault the principal and force him to use the school's radiation alarm to cause an evacuation, letting the Cretans bar the building and occupy it. Which, another thing about these like 80s punk things, like they're always like against school but stay. They want to stay in the school. Like this class of 1999.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You can't expel me.
Yeah, these guys got expelled. These guys did get expelled. It was funny. And like they were frisking them while they were getting expelled, and like that crazy chick who like in the beginning she beats up a dude by just kicking him in the dick a bunch.
Yeah.
And then she shows up to another, like she was beating up on nerds a bunch in this movie. Like then she shows up to a guy in a urinal that he was also nerdy, and then just started beating him in the dick too.
Oh yeah. She stood next to him. I thought there was going to be like a weird plot twist or something at that moment, but no, turned out she was just standing next to him because she was going to beat him up, not because she was actually going to take a piss like a man and reveal herself to be.
I was like, what's gonna happen here?
I was so ready for that plot twist.
Yeah, because it did have that other dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my, as they were getting expelled, one of the frisking, my favorite lines from her. She might have been my favorite one of those in that group, just because she was
Mm.
fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
me
she was
too.
frisked. She just had a bunch of like used condoms. It looked like in her in her pockets, and like she was just like, "God bless America, limp dick."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
And then after that, they were like trying to not get expelled and started singing the Star Spangled Banner or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
This is a
yeah.
free country.
Yeah. And then don't they like tie up the janitor or something like afterward? Or...
I think so. Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that happening. It's
Okay. In the process of doing this, the Cretans shoot and kill the principal's secretary, who happened to open the door just as the gang was torturing the principal.
oh yeah, okay.
Okay, so was the principal.
Yeah. Capturing Chrissy as bait for Warren, the leader of the gang, holds her hostage in the basement and plans to kill her in front of Warren, only to be interrupted by the now adult monster. Which
Yeah.
the leader of the gang kind of looked like shit. Now I'm forgetting his name.
He looked like Tim Thomerson a little bit, like a younger Tim Thomerson.
Oh, I thought he looked like a Mark McGrath.
Hey yo, yeah yo, I'm Mac McGrath, Sugar Ray.
Yeah. Yeah. Like from a distance, he kind of looked like him.
Oh man. Oh gosh, listening to the radio in the 90s. Hey yo, we got a special request. What do you want? I want some Sugar Ray, please.
Yep. Warren goes into the school to save her, and he discovers the adult monster who kills every one of the Cretans. Warren finally zaps the beast with a laser in the physics laboratory, which was conveniently showed earlier in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's another one of those setups, but you know, I mean, at least it went somewhere. So.
Yeah. He and Chrissy flee from the school right after the monster explodes, along with the school, also killing Mr. Paley inside. The students celebrate victory as over the loudspeakers that the school will be shut down for remodeling. While reconstruction is taking place, one of the monster babies appears squirming through the remains of the destroyed school. The screen freeze frames on the creature as the screen inverts shortly before fading out and the credits roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another
Leaving
little
the-
twist at the end.
Yeah, leaving the door wide open for a sequel, of which we've got plenty. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Class of Nuke High.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was I think one of the first ones I ever saw. One of the first Troma movies I saw. Like it was, I think the very first one I saw was, I believe, Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, but this one I saw shortly after that. So, and I hadn't seen it since then. So rewatching it like all this time later, like I still think it's pretty entertaining. I thought it was funny then, and I still find it funny. So it's one of those kind of cheap, charming type of things. It's just, and I like its message too. Like I like the fact that it's kind of about like, I like the fact that it's about radiation and like radiation poisoning, like, because that is kind of a serious issue. And, you know, of course it's used sort of as an excuse to like show a lot of exploding body parts, but I mean, still enjoy it for what it is, you know. So.
I gave it a 3. I enjoyed it overall, but not quite what I was expecting. You know, hearing things about it for so many years.
Yeah, I would give it a 3 as well. Definitely not my favorite. of theirs. I'd say it's a little bit dated compared to what they've kind of done since then, but I don't know, there's still a charm that I enjoy. But having said that, I could imagine this is the type of movie that would get hyped up a lot, because it is a pretty popular one. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd give it a 3 as well. It was entertaining, wasn't like shitty. You can watch it. I'd say it's a watchable little flick.
yeah. There's something just kind of what's the word, irresistible about these like 80s punk movies, like Suburbia and films like that. It's such an interesting snapshot. So.
Yeah.
It had a nice little theme song too for it that played throughout the movie.
The music, the soundtrack was splendid. That's one thing I gotta give this movie a lot of credit for, is it's had some great music. So, and actually, I may as well also sort of mention the soundtrack to the movie we're going to talk about after this is really amazing too. So,
oh yeah, that one was a good one.
Yeah. So.
And this is one that Lloyd Kaufman directed under a pseudonym. Just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why he did, because it kind of kicked off the whole thing, basically.
Yeah. This and Toxic Avenger. That's funny.
Pseudonym Samuel Wheel.
Okay.
Yep.
Huh.
Well.
Okay.
Yeah, well, everybody knows that Troma mostly puts out schlock, but a lot of amazing people got their start from Troma. So, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who many people argue as being one of the best pair of satirists of our time, their first, film, their first project was a Troma movie,
Yeah.
So I can think of several other actors, and I think that I don't know. I think that there's something that is sort of unmistakable about like their approach,
Oh, yeah.
Actually, oh yeah, go on.
I was going to mention James Gunn as well.
Yeah, he do like Tromeo and Juliet?
Yeah, he did a bunch with Troma, actually.
Excellent. Yeah, and Lloyd Kaufman, I think, had a cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
So that's funny. Yeah. Actually, I think on a previous episode I mentioned that like we'd only talked about one other Troma film on the show, Surf Nazis Must Die. But it turns out actually, and I didn't even sort of realize this, but Christmas Evil was a Troma movie.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess we should talk about our final sort of film, which is the one that you chose, Nick.
Yep, it is called Def DEF by Temptation. It's a different than these last ones we are discussing, I'd say.
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
Definitely better acted in the acting department.
Yeah.
A little more serious take. It still had some comedy bits, but it wasn't as like over the toppy type, crazy Troma type shit going on. There was, there was of course like a monster, but you didn't really see much of it till the end. Like in the monster suit, at least you see the person throughout the movie, of course. But so the plot follows the son of Samuel Jackson. I chose this movie because Samuel Jackson was on the cover.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. So I thought he would be more, but I'm not surprised he wasn't in it as much as him being the like one on the cover.
Yeah, it was in his Spike Lee days too. Like,
yeah, I'm assuming this was before he got super big, and then they like redid the cover just to put him on it to sell it more. I don't know. I don't know if he was
Probably.
big before this or not, or
well, let's see. I mean, I'm guessing that the movie was filmed a few years before it was released. Like, I think what happened was that this movie was sort of a smaller type of project made, but because I noticed that there were a few people in this movie that have also been in Spike Lee movies that were made around the same time, like School Days and Do the Right Thing. And so I'm thinking that like some of the folks involved in those films, because we're talking about like kind of smaller crews. I think some of those folks made sort of their own little projects, and then when some of the actors in those movies, like Samuel L. Jackson, ended up becoming part of the mainstream, I think that's kind of when Troma picked this up, or maybe they picked it up before that and then released it around the time that those movies were getting popular, or around the time Samuel L. Jackson was starting to become a household name. Or so I'm not really quite sure exactly when this movie was released, but that's my guess about like, the making of it. So.
Okay, yeah. So it starts off with Samuel L. Jackson. He's a minister, teaching his son ministryness, and he sees an apparition of some creepy ghost lady, but it's generally just all a dream of his son years later when he's an adult. He's having these dreams of his dad and creepy ghost lady, and he's becoming a minister as well. He's from North Carolina. His name's Joel, and he's having troubles deciding on is this what I want to do? Do I want to be a minister? So he rings up, I think it's his cousin, or it's just a friend, or I don't think it's his brother, like an actual brother.
Some type of confidant.
Yeah, a friend, a childhood friend, because like I know Kay was like, "Don't tell grandma you're coming over, whatever. Say good time." Like they're familiar family, at least for sure.
Yeah, they've known each other for a long time. Maybe his godfather. I don't know.
I don't think it's that, because they were around the same age. I got the idea that they grew up together in the street.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, no, I'm just throwing out guesses, but yeah.
Yeah, but his friend Kay lives in New York City, and he's, I guess, a successful actor. He's been in like franchise movies and stuff and whatnot, and he wants to go up there to New York City to take a break from his minister studies to see, if there's something else out there for him, if that's what he really wants to do. And his friend's like, hell yeah, you're my bro. Come on down, or up, I guess, from North Carolina to New York City, So it's a little fish out of water minister from North Carolina, New York City, There's a little bit of that. But the main plot is the test of the test of faith for this young minister the whole time. This is like the underlying plot. The narration, the whole arc is basically following that little priest boy.
Yeah. Which I think he made I mean, he was easy to care about.
Yeah. So and Samuel Jackson died early on too. So everything he sees was just like flashbacks and shit. Just add that in. And then one of the first scenes is that we're shown the other main character, which is the demon lady, I guess. At first, I thought it was going to be a vampire film, so I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm pumped up. I love vampire films, especially when I haven't seen one like in this setting." But I don't think I can't qualify her as a vampire really. I think she was just like a succubus type demon thing that lures in, and because I think she was out in the daylight and shit, but she didn't reflect in mirrors. But
yeah, I think she was a succubus, because she was definitely some type of demon, but like didn't really think,
not really a vampire. It didn't seem.
Yeah.
So, one of the first scenes is her picking up one of the bartenders, killing him, and I don't know, eating his soul. And she
Oh yeah,
seems to go out because
that was an interesting death scene. Is that the one with the shower? Or
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, he
Yeah.
basically they do it, and then they get into the shower.
yeah,
And the starts pouring out blood, and she laughs maniacally as he freaks out, and you see
yeah.
dong.
Oh yeah, which I didn't expect. So you
I
get
didn't
get
either.
get a little bit of male nudity, in this. So
Dong hung. Yep.
yeah. Yeah. So,
Hmm. Um. So yeah, we pick up again. Like as Joel's on his way up to New York City, his his brother, cousin, friend, whatever he is, just chilling out at the bar that this demon lady picks up dudes. She seems to generally go for guys that are cheating, or so the first bartender, his first victim he wasn't the cheater. The lady he was sleeping with, like he planned to sleep with someone that was married. So
right.
she picked him as his first victim. And then another guy, an old nerdy Norman, he was definitely cheating on his wife. And then that was one of his
Yes.
her victims. And then the other one of it more, I don't know, kind of importance, I guess, was some just other random dude that we saw a couple times.
Yeah. Didn't really do
Uh,
much.
Yeah, no. He was hit on by a gay dude, and I couldn't tell if he was just a surly gay man who was like, I'm not looking for anything tonight, but I'll take that drink if you want. And then he was like, and walked away. It's like, no. But he gets seducted by her and is murdered as well.
Yeah.
And then the third or fourth, I guess, ish main character is this guy we see that's in the bar all the time, hitting on chicks poorly, just
Yeah.
doing like real cheesy and inappropriate one-liners the whole time. His name was Dougie. I was like, and he always had a suspicion for that girl.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he was a
anyway,
bit of a
so
spooky guy.
the
a
main
little, a
character,
little
Kay,
bit.
the actor, right? At first, you're like, "What's his deal?" And he's just a creeper. But
Yeah.
him or so anyway. Kay, you know, gets seduced by this vampire, or not vampire, succubus lady. They have a nice night. She doesn't go all crazy on him or kill him. They just have a nice night, and you know, the next day, Kay tells his friend all about her. He's like, yeah, she might be the one. I didn't get her name though. And
It's like, okay.
they have after, yeah. Um, so after he meets her, or after Joel gets to the city, they have a little one of those changing clothes montages because they're gonna go out to the bar and show him the city life. And that was a funny little. It wasn't like a montage because there's no music behind it, but it was like him trying on different suits, and I liked it. It was a funnier one. Like, and I will say those two actors were good. They had some good chemistry, good like back and forth and everything.
I love their report. Like, I feel like they there was a sort of certain degree of familiarity and comfort, I guess, in their like interactions that just kind of made their overall banter feel more like alive. So
Yeah,
The guy that
like,
plays Joel is actually the writer and director too.
oh yeah,
yeah, I saw that. Yep.
James Bond the
James
third.
Bond the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess was a child actor.
He looks familiar. I don't, but yeah.
Yeah, I know I've seen him in something else. I don't remember though.
Hmm.
But
I didn't recognize anyone in here. So they go to the bar again, and she's there as she is every night apparently.
It's her hobby.
Yeah, it's her feeding ground.
Yeah.
But this time she's picking up Joel, and she is blowing off Kay, who is like, "What the fuck?" Like she immediately, even before like Kay says, "Hey, so I guess like," because he like went to the bathroom or something, and he comes out and they're already talking, and she even goes up to him. We've never met. This is our first time meeting. Ha hi. Like he didn't even get a chance to say, "Oh, look. I guess this is the girl I was talking about." He was like, "Nope."
Mm.
He immediately shut it down real quick, and, then, and he's like, "What
So
the
funny.
fuck?" He's like, "What the fuck? What the?" Yeah.
It's confused.
Understandably, he's like, "Uh-oh," and
Yeah.
so I guess like I don't know what the whole point of her was, but she needed to like seduce someone in the last of the line of, I don't know, a minister, just the last person in the line of a family, which he was, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
didn't
was her overall goal. I don't know why or what it would do. They just
yeah,
said that's
I
what
don't
she's
think it
trying to
ever
do.
said.
Yeah. So
Maybe she just was really into seducing people who were part of a clergy. Like
I
maybe
mean, that's
vampires
what
take a certain pride, or demonic succubus creatures take a certain pride in taking down people who are of a faithful disposition. Maybe it has something to do with that.
it was that they did mention that it was her main goal, like of her demon, I don't know, species, if there is one, was they have to like tempt the like a holy man or whatever into doing stuff. They
Yeah,
mentioned that
doing the
as like
deed.
yeah.
But anyway,
And so
I
they get back from the hotel, or from the bar, I mean, and they get in a little kerfuffle, and, and I don't know, just a little, second act fight.
yeah,
Um,
which it happened so fast. I just was kind of like, okay, well, didn't end up going anywhere really.
yeah, and she eventually comes over to do another date with Joel because she wants him. She wants his purity, and she again shows up to his Kay's apartment, and like Joel goes to get ready and whatever, and Kay confronts her. He's like, "What the fuck? What are you doing? What kind of games you playing and shit?" And as he's fighting with her, there's a mirror in his background, and he's like, "Oh, whoa." He turns around, in a huff, and then notices that she doesn't show up in the mirror, and he's like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" And he does, like, if I was like, and then they just leave. The girl, like, she threatens him or whatever, and but the girl and Joel leave, and if I don't know why he didn't say anything to him. He's like, "What the like? Hey, look at this! Look at this! Look at this!" And he just let him leave without even really saying anything. And he might have just been in shock. I don't know, but like he just let him leave. I'd have been like, this is shit I've heard in like movies. I don't know if I'm seeing shit or whatnot, but
Yeah, that does seem like something that would be strange to like ignore. That was a little bit of plot convenience, I guess. Yeah.
yep. So Kay goes to the creepy dude that's been hitting on people, hitting on the girls in that bar. And that guy always, had a suspicion of her. He's like, something ain't right about her. And we've come to find out that this guy, Dougie, is actually some kind of detective that works on like
Hmm.
paranormal cases in the FBI.
Okay,
He
that
wasn't. He
part
wasn't.
I didn't expect that.
I didn't either. I was like, what the? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Came out of
Complete
that,
nowhere.
180.
that totally threw me for a loop. I was
Right?
like, okay, what?
Yeah, best undercover cop ever.
Yeah, for real.
Because his whole thing was that he was like trying to eye her down and like get her get her caught. He was specifically going after this lady because I don't know, he had info on her and shit, but couldn't prove anything. And they
Yeah. Well,
the
he said,
bureau the bureau wouldn't approve, so they have to go undercover, or not undercover, but
yeah, it
behind
was
them.
like, it was almost like a uh what do you call, like an idle hands kind of thing, this is the closest I've come to finding the demon, I can't let it get away this time.
He
So
pretty much said that verbatim. I think it.
yeah, yeah, I that's like a phrase I've heard in more than one of these movies, like
Yeah.
it's just like the demon hunter comes to the town where the demon is hiding inside of the body of somebody, or it's hiding underground or something, and then like the guy who's hunting the demon says, "Oh, I've never been this close before," or something like that. So
Yeah. Yep. So Kay first goes to him and says like, "Yo, you said you didn't trust her. I didn't see you in a mirror. This shit's fucked up." And he came in like, "I know you're not gonna believe me, but hear me out. Just hang on. Hear me out. She was not in a mirror." And he was like, "Yep, I believe you." And then he took him into like the fucking police station and showed him all this shit. And then they go to a psychic lady to tell him about, I don't know why they went to a psychic lady to get some help.
yeah, they really didn't even need to do that. Like,
Right. And then
it's
she
a
gives
hell of
them
a detour.
just rant like, let's just go to a psychic lady. But she does give a lot of info. She gives
Yeah.
them the info that she's a temptation demon, that
Oh, dude, she gave
has
away
to-
the whole plot.
yeah, at least somebody did.
Yeah.
She basically said that, yeah, she's a temptation demon. She has to kill this Joel kid because he's the last in the line. And she gets off, or she like rises to power after corrupting an innocent,
Yeah.
which he was. um and then they were like discussing ways to do, when I a little beat I thought was funny is like they were discussing ways to like dispose of her or kill her, because she's like unkillable. And the guy was like, the detective was like, why can't we just like subdue her in like some holy water, rip out her heart while it's still beating, bury it in like buried or like hollowed ground. And like and like Kay was like, that's some freaky shit, I'm out.
Yeah.
That was funny. That was great.
Yeah. And then like, so the temptress is realizing that she's getting contacted or whatever, like by well, I guess she has, her power comes from when she's actually doing it, but if I guess she's being resisted, she loses power. So like
Right.
Joel and her were on like just a coffee date at some like pastry shop, and he's resisting her advances, and then she's like getting a headache and getting all sick and shit. So she excuses herself to the bathroom, where she like somehow knows that she's being like tracked by this psychic, and she like somewhat possesses the psychic for a little bit and like screams at detective and Kay, and they fucking book it out of there. And like, fuck this shit. Just book it out
Yeah.
of there while she's being possessed.
That's the moment where they're like, okay, we're in over our heads.
And then throughout the movie you see the aforementioned grandma, that she wants, the one that wants Joel to continue his ministry-ness, but she's like, protect Joel. She's like, praying to God, protect Joel. And then she even starts having these weird visions and shit, like she was looking at a baby picture of him, and it starts bleeding out of the eyes. And she has a dream about like the whole thing, basically, that she like sees the seductress and like in this weird trippy dream, and then all of the victims too, like that we saw her kill, were like all like fucked up in there, all half dead and everything, zombie like. So she knows shit's going down up there. Like,
Yeah.
she's a God-fearing grandma, like. So so she does eventually make her way up there, but that's for later.
Yeah.
So the yep. So the initial plan the initial plan for Kay and the detective were they go to the bar. They see like the main bartender guy that they're friendly with, and they say, yeah, she's fucking crazy. Should they give him just some holy water to pour in her drink, and then we'll take care of the rest. And surprisingly, it works because it looked like as he was pouring it, he was like pouring it real sketchy, like to her back, and like she was looking him down. I thought he was gonna get caught. I thought
Yeah.
was
He
gonna
was
go
shaking it too
go
on the
s-
way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
And he said,
Yeah.
and
pretty bad. But oh well,
yeah, and
anyway.
like, and he was, and as he was giving her, he was like had a nervous, like breaking, like his voice was breaking. This is on the house. Yeah, it's on the house. And
Yeah. It's like, word's gotten out about you.
right, like for the type of demon she is, who's fooling people, she should have red flag should have been going up, but nah, she just chugs it, and then starts getting fucked up. Oh, Kay, Kay and the detective Dougie, they start
Yeah.
coming in and trying to kill her, but they can't. I think that's what happens, right?
She's too
Tries-
powerful or something like that.
Okay, yeah. So they try, like, Dougie tries to stab her, but she has like psychic powers too, so it like turns it into like him trying to stab himself. And they stop that. I guess she gets away or some shit, and then they part ways. Yeah, they part ways after that because they are like they get out onto the street and their car's gone, and
Yeah.
like, the detective says, let's go this way, and Kay was like, no, I'm going this way, and then they fight about it for like 30 seconds, and they're like, yeah, this is where we part ways, see you later.
Yeah, they separate.
Yep. So and I guess I'll go with the detective. We see him getting chased down. He gets into it. He flashes his police badge, gets into a car as he's being chased down. But shit, the driver turned out to be a demon. I forget who it was. It was one of the characters that
I think it was the bartender.
Oh, okay.
It was one of her
so, yeah,
previous.
No, it was that bartender that helped them out. So I guess he got fucked off screen, like got turned off screen or something. And then like that lady that we see throughout the movie dressed in black was, in the seat next to him. She pops up, and that's the last we see of him. We don't know what happens. I wonder.
I don't think we're ever gonna get a sequel.
Or I mean, we'll hold on to that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Then we see we eventually follow Kay, who is like sketching out. He's like, he gets to his apartment. He's like looking through it. He does he have a knife? I don't. He does eventually grab a knife out. But he first, goes to the fridge, starts chugging a 40, and then the TV turns on, so he like grabs a knife. And then the TV, he's checking the TV out, and it turns out to be him. And what I'm assuming isn't something that he's made, because in the beginning of the movie he shows like his friend a gun that's it's a real gun, but a gun that he used in like this action trilogy he was in. But it was like this weird kind of creepy, like him with being, I don't even know if he was speaking English, but he was like kind of demonic-ish. And like, kind of luring the real Kay to the TV. He's like, what the fuck is this? And then Kay gets sucked into the TV.
Yeah, which was like, okay, all right.
I was like,
so now we're going to shocker territory.
No, because I did like that Kay guy. He was pretty cool. And then because he gets sucked into the TV, and then just blood and like spinal cord gets shot out. And it's like, oh, he's dead. Oh well, rip.
It's kind of like, damn.
Kay.
Yeah, kind of a bummer way to go, but oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie it has little homages to The Shining, by the way, with the next day card or later that day or whatever. Those little title cards that came up occasionally. Yeah. I don't know
thought
if that added
it was like
anything.
Poltergeist. Was that the one where the TV people get sucked in the TV? That one
Well-
scene was Poltergeisty with the TV, right?
Well, I mean, I was thinking Shocker, but I
Except for
guess
the blood splatting back out.
I mean, there's a
Didn't that
scene.
little girl get stuck in a TV in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
she
am I
gets
thinking of
pulled into
something
like
else?
the ghost dimension, but then the part where the TV explodes makes
Yeah.
me think of like Videodrome or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, I mean, you gotta get the
so-
fingerprints off of like people's inspirations. So. But yeah, go on.
So like I guess forget the complete timeline of these last 15 or so minutes.
Well, I know the very
So-
last thing. Yeah, but go on.
Okay, so let's go with Joel. He ignored Kay's wishes. He was like, no,
Mhm.
she's because Kay eventually comes back, relays what happened, what they saw with the psychic lady. She's like, this is a bad lady, she's a demon, there's no reflection. And he's like, oh, you're crazy, and he admits that, I was a little jealous because that was the girl I was telling you about. And then they get into a big fight that's never resolved because Kay dies. But anyways, he ignores Kay. He goes to see her again, and he's trying real hard to get him, but his faith is too strong. He's like, no. She tries to give him like this weird colored wine, so I'm assuming it was some type of, well, it was, because she drinks it, and then I assume, and then just starts making out with him after all
Yeah.
his. He's like, no.
And infects him.
Yeah. So she drinks it and I think just spits it into his mouth while he's making out.
I think so.
Because she just and then makes out with him. And then he just starts spazzing out like he's poisoned. He gets knocked out, and he's like, Samuel L. Jackson makes a return in the end of the movie. By the end, I forget kind of what he was there for. I think it was just him tripping after he got Patton knocked out by those drugs.
Yeah,
And he's like,
that's
"You're
the impression I got.
You're not my father," or something. He's just saying something like that. Like, you're not my father. He's dead or something. Or I don't fucking know. But he was yelling at Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson was trying to give him ministerial advice. But so he's like coming to and stuff, and she's trying to, finish the job, but Granny shows up. She shows up and starts beating on fucking the lady, but she throws her across the room. Like, I was like, oh, she did. Like, an old lady can't go across the room, smack into a corner of a wall. But
No.
yeah, she made it.
She
lived
survived.
that.
Yeah.
And then that's where we get the most, like, this film didn't feel too Troma-y to me until like this, like we see like a glimpse, like, because we see a few glimpses, like when she's murdering people, she's in like what do they call those beds with the curtains that hang down and shit?
Canopy bed.
Yeah, like she has a canopy bed, and when she's killing people, it shows that she definitely turns into a beast. Like, not the same one she turned into on the last, because it looked a lot hairier and bigger when she like killed one of the guys. But she eventually, turned into a beast, and this was like the most Troma-y part of this whole movie, almost, like, I'd say, because it had like the fairly decent costume of her demon form.
Yeah.
And she's trying to kill the grandma because she's still alive. She's like holding her up, trying to kill her, and then Joel's all fucked up, but he's hearing the words of Samuel L. Jackson, say the words of the Bible to her or whatever, and he's crawling on the ground to reach that crucifix.
You have to believe. Yeah. He has to like believe in the word of God and in his faith in order to take down the demon from hell.
Yep, he has to do it, and he grabs the cross and is like shines it on her, and that cross reflection light kind of shit you do in Exorcist movies, like.
They also did it in like the Boogeyman as well.
Yeah. He had a more decent Exorcist speech than I was expecting. I don't remember any of it, but I was just like, at least he didn't go like, "The power of Christ compels you" for the millionth time of a movie
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
had
we've
some
seen
type
that
of
too many times.
decent speech, but
Yeah.
he defeats her that way, yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see.
There's like a twist ending.
Yep, there is a twist ending. So
All these movies have twist endings.
these
It's great.
Troma movies, man, and they're all twisted.
Yeah.
You get some
It's like-
fucking Shyamalan ding dong in here to do Troma.
I know. I'm
You'd be the
surprised that M.
perfect
Night
director for it.
for real, dude. He's like it's like his movies are Troma movies except not interesting. Like
Yeah. Very
Like,
little reason to watch them.
yeah.
These are
I
at least
kind of wish that
entertaining for the stupidity of them.
oh my god, The Happening I love. I mean, you know,
I loved The Happening.
yeah. Well, oh my god. Well, the thing is, I find that movie insanely entertaining, and I
Oh, yeah,
actually
me too.
there's something about it like where like if it's playing, like I just gotta finish it. I think it's
Just
like
one of
if I'm like flipping through channels and it's on TV, it's like, oh, The Happening, here we go. Like now we're getting real here.
Yeah, one of the best scenes in any movie is like that lemonade scene. Like what is she says? Like, who drank my lemonade? Like, crazy about the lemonade. She was just going off on someone drinking a lemonade or some shit. I love that scene.
That's so funny. Oh. Yeah, I kind of wish that M. Night Shyamalan's first movie had been a Troma movie. Yeah, that would have been magical.
Yeah.
What a different world we would be living in.
Yeah. The Visit almost feels like it could be a Troma movie in a way. Almost. Like, but it's still not as gnarly as Troma movies usually are. The Visit's a little too vanilla for Troma. So
Yeah, so the twist with this one was that Dougie, the detective, forget where the hell he shows up again. Oh, it's at the bar. So I'll first set up at the first. Shit! I should have said this in the beginning. I was meant to.
oh well.
The first, like the bartender guy, her first victim. She has a cigarette in her mouth, and he lights it for her with a match, and she says, "You should use a cigarette lighter. It burns slower." Which I mean, I smoke my fair share of cigarettes. I don't know if that's entirely true or makes any type of scientific sense. Because after a cigarette, like ash is lit, I don't think it is hotter because you lit it with a match. If anything, I'd assume it would be smaller. Because when you light them with a match, the flame is tiny, and
Yeah.
a bic per se, it's a big old thing, and you inhale like your first drag's half butane. So I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna guess that the
maybe
match thing is like a superstition or something, or an old wives' tale, or whatever they call them.
or maybe I think it was just a cool line they came up with, honestly. because in the end, it comes back. You see a guy, like you see his hand, and a cute young lady. She lights him a cigarette with a match. You don't see who it is, but it pans out or whatever, and it shows that it's Dougie. He looks a little different, and he says the same line. You should use a cigarette lighter. And
it's like,
long.
oh no!
Yep, because he looks a little like his face is a little more not deformed fully. He still looks humanish, but like maybe he had like some gnarlier teeth-ish. He definitely looked different, more possessed at least.
Yeah, the point is
But
he's
a new one. A
Yeah,
male succubus.
Yeah, what are they called? Incubus?
That could be it. I know there is a male version of it. I don't know what the term is, but there's definitely a male version of it.
Yeah, it's like male succubus or incubus or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
but either way, that's what he's. Yeah, that's the twist.
Yeah, and he came off and he did come off a lot more charming. Like, I'll give him props. The I'll give James Bond the third props for tying that together, because he was, douchey, like his pickup lines were scummy and cheesy, but I think he had a charming personality on that last little
Yeah,
scene of him
some
hitting
character
on
growth.
that girl.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually really dug the cast. Like, it was
Yeah.
I don't know, they were all pretty likable. Even the succubus, I was kind of like,
Yeah,
I
she
don't
was
know.
cool. I liked her for a bad guy. She was a cool one.
Yeah, she was a cool character. Like, yeah, I don't know. So, but I actually really quite enjoyed this movie, to be honest. Like, I tend to like
Yeah, I did
movies
too.
about like evil, like seductress type characters. Like, I love like Under the Skin and Liquid Sky and movies like that. And this movie sort of fit kind of like along those lines. I mean, not maybe cheaper than those, but like still kind of charming in the same sort of way that I like those kinds of things. I mean, I need to give this movie a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, because the copy that I watched looked like crap, honestly. And I know it got released on Blu-ray not too long ago, and so I think I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie at somewhere down the line, like, because I do feel like this movie could have like benefited from like a better quality, sort of. Like, it wasn't like unwatchable or anything like that. It just looked kind of muddy, and then there were just parts that I don't know, the transfer just looked a little bit too grainy and out of focus, and I just couldn't quite follow parts of it. But I still enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it on like, it was the official release of a YouTube. I'd paid money for it or whatever. So, and I think it was an HD version I watched too, and it looked good to me. Yeah, so
yeah, I
what
watched it on an old taped version. So,
I mean,
like,
I don't know much about the history of this either. So I guess, because as far as Troma movies go, I wouldn't have even really known this was a Troma movie, to be honest.
And then
Like, I assume they may have like written it and were just shopping it around, and Troma picked it up or something.
yeah, that's
Because
what
there was
happened.
almost no Troma type that was. Yeah, that's what I assumed.
Yeah.
Because there was almost no Troma stuff except for like the costume at the end.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty straightforward, decent, and I agree with you. Yeah, I would definitely like give it a rewatch. I'd probably watch it in general, because I did like the whole, I mean, even though the title "Death by Temptation" was a little on the nose, it was a little interesting. A little interesting arc of a country boy ministry man testing his faith. Like like one of my favorite, somewhat related, From Dusk Till Dawn.
I love that movie.
A ministry man losing faith and getting tested by demons and monsters.
Well, it's such a cool idea. The idea of a faithless person who used to be a person of faith, or used to be a preacher or something, suddenly being confronted with the supernatural after they've given up on the idea. That's a really, really cool idea. I love movies that sort of challenge, like, they have main characters in them that have like challenging issues regarding like faith and spirits, and like what exists, or what the meaning of things are, or what's real and what isn't. I love those kinds of movies. And yeah, so it definitely made this character, the main character in this, more like engaging and easier to sort of connect with as a protagonist.
For sure. And because like I'm not a religious guy, but like I respect people who give up. Well, I respect them, like, that they give up all good things. They like can't have sex until, I mean, I don't know what type of religion he is. Some can't have sex, some can't until marriage. So he can't drink or do anything. Like normal people, the general public, I should say, I guess, would do.
Yeah.
So all based all on faith, because that's what religion is something you could never prove. I mean, I could never do it, that's for sure. So I mean, good for him for sticking to his guns and resisting the temptation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's an interesting character idea, and it's an interesting sort of journey. Like, even though like the main plot is obviously about like demonic succubus and stuff like that, I still felt like you know, if you're going to watch a supernatural themed kind of movie about the testing of one's faith, you may as well have interesting characters to go along with it. So
Yeah, and they all
um
like that's
yeah.
again why I noticed it probably wasn't a Troma film, was because they all were fairly interesting, all the main
Yeah.
characters, and it was
No, that's
well
the thing.
acted.
Yeah, I mean,
too,
well, the thing is, like,
they all did
Troma,
good.
like, I mean, Troma, the thing is, like, they do make their own movies, but most of their film catalog are typically consist of films that they sort of picked up along the way at like various festivals and stuff like that, that
Mhm.
sort of are like low budget, sort of like low grade, lo-fi productions that just have like a certain kind of like quality to them that just they seem to just embrace movies that are really rough around the edges, or just have like just cheap qualities to them. You know, I think they're more into the like the low rent side of cinema, you know, which
Yeah.
I think this movie, I mean, I feel like its cheapness sort of actually worked in favor of what it was going for, because like the sort of weird muddy style of it made me think of like a cheap like guerrilla style 70s movie or something, you know, like it had that kind
Yeah.
of feel to it, you know.
Yeah.
So
And I was actually even surprised by some of like the cinematography of it too. Like there was that one
yeah.
scene where Kay was trying to like wake up his brother or his friend Joel, like it was backlit with him, like Joel being, succumbing to it. It was like he was backlit in like blue colors, blue shades. And
Mm.
like Kay trying to put, the wisdom on him. It was like there was a normal lamp, like it was just lit in like white colors and shit. And they did
Yeah.
that throughout, honestly. Like some of like when he was pouring the holy water, there was like she was in like a darker thing, and he was the bartender was like lit red and stuff, and you could tell like, oh, something's gonna happen and shit. So like
Yeah,
it
this
had a
movie
few of those moments.
it had a pretty supreme sense of style, I felt, you know, which I thought was cool. Kind of gave it a little bit more of like an animated feel a little bit, you know. Although one thing I will say is that like it also felt like, as far as, you know, what was going on, because you sort of mentioned it, kind of the impression that you got initially was that it was going to be some type of vampire movie and stuff. It's actually a surprise, like it's a relatively mild mannered, you know, mild structured type of film. Like there isn't really a whole lot about it that's particularly edgy, at least until like toward the end. You know, up until that point it is kind of like a slower paced sort of movie, a little bit more like about the human characters, more
Yeah,
focused
that's
on
why
them, you
like
know.
that's probably why like it was more character based than the
Yeah.
shock horror value. There wasn't too much
Yeah.
gore in it or anything.
Yeah,
All
it
of the
didn't really.
blood was like a lot of the kills were like off screen and shit. And
Yeah,
you know,
like it definitely didn't feel like a horror movie. It felt more
yeah,
like almost like a supernatural mystery, you know. So
yeah,
so I think
yeah,
maybe like part of the issue with this film perhaps could be like the fact that like it does, I could imagine this movie sort of being victim to false advertisement if people watched it sort of expecting it to be like a gory horror movie, and then like kind of being let
yeah,
down to discover, oh, it's
yeah,
more of like a faith-based film about like that has like some supernatural elements. It's, you know, I could just see some people getting kind of pissed off by that, which also might be why the title Death by Temptation, I don't know, maybe that's not the best type of title, but I don't know. How do you sell a movie like this though? That's the thing. Like you can't really. I mean, it sort of fits into its own sort of niche category. So,
yeah.
so. Interesting choice. I'm actually glad you picked it though. Like out of the 3 films that we watched on this episode, or 4 films actually, Recipe for Temptation, or Seduction.
Oh shit.
Oops. Of the 4 films we watched on this episode, I'd have to say this film was probably the one I found most enjoyable. So I think I'd give it like a 3
I
or a
think so.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd give it a 4, but I'm gonna go with 3.5 just because they put Samuel L. Jackson on the front. He was barely in it. I was
Yeah.
expecting more Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that's another thing about false advertising is like, oh, you're gonna put somebody who's only in it for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes in flashback on the cover. It's like, pff.
Yeah.
I also gave it 3. I as well thought it was going to be vampires, like, and a lot gorier.
Mm.
As well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the gore, what little there was decent, and I'm not going to complain about a movie that throws in a dong or two. So, but yeah, if you're expecting like something kind of sleazy and intense, like a lot of Troma films are, you're probably not going to get it with this one, So.
Yeah, because it wasn't really too much of a Troma film, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
just by production alone.
Yeah.
And the
I will. Oh yeah.
I was going to say the Blu-ray is released by Vinegar Syndrome, so you barely would know that it's Troma.
Mm.
Yeah, I was even confused looking it up because when we were planning it, I was double and triple checking, is this even a Troma film? Because it didn't necessarily say like right on the front or anything like the others, but I just like looked through the Wikipedia. Produced by the Troma Productions and shit, and it was on a list of Troma films.
Yeah, it's a
Not
Troma movie.
Yeah, it definitely was for sure. But
Yeah.
like,
There's
I definitely had to check to make sure before I chose it.
Yeah. I've definitely seen Troma movies that were less Troma than this one, though. And actually, I will even say, like, yeah, and I would even say, like, I wouldn't even really, I mean, Christmas Evil, like, to me, that doesn't really feel like a Troma movie. That movie's about as gory as this one is. So.
Yeah.
Maybe so I guess one thing that they sometimes do is they put out genre films that are like a little bit different than which, although in my opinion sometimes that fires like really miserably. Like I still consider the worst Troma movie that I've seen so far anyway to be Zombie Island Massacre, because that title is the biggest bait and switch ever. Like when you think Zombie Island Massacre, you think of people going to an island and getting massacred by zombies, right? But it turns out the island is just called Zombie Island. And the massacre is really more like some tourists getting bumped off and a drug deal gone wrong. And that's pretty much it.
Wow.
Like, yeah,
Wow.
It's really, really disappointing. Like I was expecting like people getting eaten and didn't get anything. So
I mean, the Rabid Grannies title is misleading. They weren't rabid; they were demons.
yeah,
And they were old aunts as well. They were. I mean, they may have been grannies too, but referred to through the whole movie as their aunts.
yeah,
And the cover of that one's not even the same people.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed
bet-
that too.
Oh
like,
man,
okay.
That would have been a better movie if it had been about Rabid Grannies. Like when I picked it,
Right.
I looked at the cover. I see this little girl screaming and these crazy old ladies that look deranged, and my thought was, "Oh my God, is this going to be like Cujo? Like some little girl getting attacked by old ladies, like in a car or something like that?" That's why I picked, because I thought that it was going to be sort of like that kind of thing about like old ladies like getting bitten by a rabid dog and then like attacking people or something. I thought it was going to be something funny like that, but turned out it was just another demonic possession movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, but we should definitely do this again sometime. Check out some more of these. Some more of their crap.
Yeah.
Right. It's definitely a big well to draw from.
Oh yeah, definitely. But so that concludes this episode. Before we depart, do gentlemen want to choose or give your picks for the next episode?
Sure. We're doing bad 90s comedies.
Yeah, that's kind of the overall theme. So
All right. So my choice, hopefully it will stay on YouTube because it's only on YouTube streaming right now.
uh-oh.
But it's Freaked. Directed by Alex Winter.
I think I've seen that one, right?
What was that, Nick?
I think I've seen that one.
Freaked?
Like, he's the guy that does like Bill and Ted or whatever.
Alex Winter, yeah.
Did we not do that on this one?
No.
Then why the fuck would I watch that? I know that movie.
I don't know. I'm curious. Oh. I know that.
That's funny. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm looking forward. I know that I've seen it, but it was a long time ago, and I just remember it being really freaking weird. Like that's literally all I remember about it. So I'm looking forward to watching that one. So.
And maybe I didn't see it. I just like saw some podcast on it or something too.
Yeah.
But I definitely saw a lot of clips.
I remember
of it for sure.
I remember when we used to go to Borders back when that was open. The DVD of that was on the shelf, and like that's like the main thing I remember is the DVD cover. And now when you look up that DVD, it's totally out of print.
Oh yeah,
And it's like
expensive.
hard to find. Yeah, it's like, oh man, it's like it was at Borders.
What about it?
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, how are we supposed to know that it would one day cost a fortune?
Yeah.
Do you want to go next, Nick, or do you want me to go next?
I can go next, yeah. Mine is we're going back to a good 90s theme of ninjas. It is called Three Ninjas Knuckle Up.
All right.
Excellent.
It is a comedy martial arts. It looks like it's, a cast of kids too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've seen at least a couple of Three Ninjas movies, but I don't think I've seen Knuckle Up. So,
oh, it's a fucking franchise.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
One of them even stars Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. And one of them's on the
should have picked that one.
one of them's on the bottom 100 IMDb list too, I believe.
I think it's the one with Hulk Hogan.
What's it called?
And we'll save it for that one. All right.
I think it's called Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
This will give us a little preview of it. Then. Well, we won't be completely lost during that episode.
No, I rented the first Three Ninjas movie several times when I was a kid, and I'm looking forward to revisiting them. So
Yeah, I haven't seen him in years.
yeah, I never saw Knuckle Up, so I'm definitely stoked.
I'm not sure which ones I've seen.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure the ones I've seen are Three Ninjas and Three Ninjas Kick Back, I think was the sequel. Or
I was looking on Kickback, yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the only two I've seen, and then I never bothered with the other two. I think I was too afraid of Hulk Hogan. So all right, so my pick, this is a movie that everybody makes fun of. I think I see it on a lot of bad lists, but it's one that I saw when I was a kid, and for some reason it's one that my family watched a lot. It's another one of those cool as ice type of choices. So it's Clifford, starring Martin Short. So.
I've seen bits of it, but not the entire thing. So
It's freaking weird because Martin Short, he plays a 10-year-old.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So try to picture that, and yeah, the movie is actually weirder than what you're picturing. I'm just gonna let you guys discover why. So
All right. So some solid picks.
yeah, I would say so. All right, cool. Freaked, Three Ninjas Knuckle Up, and Clifford. I'm looking forward to it. All right, cool. Well, until next time, have a good night, everybody. Peace.
Yeah. Later.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.